Welcome to Seven Figure Fitness Business with your hosts. I'm Andrew P. and this is Andrew G.
Hey guys.
Now, today we're going to be discussing a really important topic to us, which is the fitpro mentor industry. And it's important and relevant to us because, first of all, we run our own fitpro mentor business, which is called Systems by Design. And we do that with our business partner, Iggy. But also, this is really important to us. We have a unique position because we also run a very successful seven-figure fitness business, and we're in the trenches of that every single day. So, mate, in terms of, the fitpro mentor industry, why did we consider this a relevant topic to sort of dissect in a podcast episode?
I think that, we want to really share our story. We want to explain, where we've come from, why we're doing what we do. And, being in this space, what we've seen is we've just seen a lot of fraudulent activity. There's a lot of fitpro mentors who are taking people's money and they're not delivering what they say they're going to deliver. And as a result, there's an entire industry with no trust and people getting nowhere and not getting the results that they wanted.
Yeah. So this is something that we see and we experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just, day after day, we see the exact same things, right? And, for us, it's about actually doing this the right way. As you said, we have our own seven-figure business. And one of the advantages of that is we're, being in the trenches every single day, we know what works.
We're going to upset people by saying this, and I think that's fine. We're going to upset people that should be upset by this. But ultimately, one of the biggest problems with the industry is that a lot of the people, the way that they transition to being a fitness business coach is we've experienced that they start a semi-successful, sort of a low to mid-figure fitness business, and they quickly transition to being a business coach, I assume because they feel that they can make more money in that. There's a real problem and a concern that we see on an ethical basis from that. A lot of the time, they haven't actually had a particularly successful fitness business to be giving other people advice.
That's right. And, we know that being in the industry every single day, that it evolves. It evolves like crazy. Like I can think of, three major evolutions during the time that we've been in the industry. And I think back to, back in the day, and this is probably even before we were online. But when we used to run ads, you used to be able to literally run an ad. We used a Woohoo back in the day. And that Woohoo form was literally just an application with name, phone number, what are your goals, et cetera, et cetera. We'd run an ad straight to that form. Now that used to work. We're talking about 6-7 years ago now. And, over time, things have gotten more competitive and that well and truly does not work. You need to build up more trust in the marketplace. And then, we've had webinars. Right? You used to run traffic to a webinar, people would watch that webinar. And then after that, you would sign them up to your program after they gave you their details. Now, again, there's so much competition. That stopped work. Let's look at 7-day challenges. And 7-day challenges are something that we still use to this day quite a lot. But the way that they've been run in the past was you do a 7-day challenge and you get someone results in advance and then you sign them up to your program. Problem is that, again, competition got greater and greater and greater. And now everywhere you look, if you're interested in health, you're going to see a 7-day challenge every single other day. So people are going to be signing up to all of them and they're not actually going to do your challenge. So then it was like, okay, what if we sign people up in advance before they did that 7-day challenge so they don't have a chance to quit, so they're on the phone with you before they even try? Those sort of simple evolutions are things like you've got coaches who are going back and still trying to teach people to run a webinar, which sure, you can do that. There's definitely no black or white. This works, this doesn't work. It's just purely a matter of the return on your investment that you're going to get on a webinar versus a 7-day challenge versus something more complicated like a survey funnel or a chat funnel.
It's funny, like as you're saying all of that, why do you think, and this is kind of a question, I think it kind of answers itself, but why do you think that so many fitpro mentors are giving their members out of date stuff?
Well, it's just that they're not doing it themselves anymore, or they've never done it right.
Well, I think that's it. Like the finger isn't on the pulse. Like we used to have a bit of a joke with our team, with our fitness business. We'd do like a weekly meeting on a Monday morning. And there was a bit of a joke around the table that if you missed one of those meetings, you had no idea what was going on, like because the industry does change quickly. And one of your main jobs is that you have to constantly put out fires. You have to adapt to industry trends in the marketing. And sometimes just shit breaks, right? And you have to learn how to fix that. So when you're doing an out of date program that's all based on a website where, apparently it's got everything that you need, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's right. Like things stop working and, you need to change. And I suppose the way I operate, well, the way my brain works, I'm just a fiddler. Like I don't really read books. I don't even really watch videos. I get a rough idea. I see what other people are doing. I model off them and then I just fiddle and play around with things until I get them working. And, I'm constantly testing one thing versus the other and I'm just obsessed with numbers. So for me, it's like, I view it as like, how can I get the highest possible return off this? How can I make, change my ads to get a percentage saved? How can I improve what we're doing to find something revolutionary that's going to get really, really, outrageously cheap leads? So it's being on top of that industry and understanding, like, a lot of the time you've got coaches who are going to teach you different things. Like you've got coaches who are going to teach you the mindset sort of stuff. Yeah, that's cool. There are great coaches out there. But, if you've got an online business and you want the direct template of exactly how to do something, the copy paste model, a mindset coach probably isn't the person that you want to go to because you just want that information in front of you that you grab, you put into your business and you apply to your niche.
You helped me learn this more than anybody, but I've always been into the mindset stuff because I think mindset is great. It's great as a foundation, but where a lot of people get stuck is it becomes a form of procrastination. And I'm going to say this is that if you've done one good program that had information on mindset and you're still struggling, you don't need any more mindset stuff. You need action-based criteria that simplifies what you need to do into actionable steps. You can actually have an impact and get shit done, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always that sort of thing. It's like self-development, but self-development doesn't always mean that you're going to take action on it. And being very, very clear and defined, do A, B, C, D as simplistically as possible is what's going to get you there. And I also find like, with a lot of our coaching methodology, we don't make things complicated. Like, when we're teaching people to set up their funnels, there's literally like 5 core videos, boot camp videos that it's like, you do 1, you do 2, you do 3, do 4, do 5. And once you've done those things, you're going to have a funnel that's going to make you money. Now, there are also a bunch of other coaches and, like we're very much down the paid ads route because paid ads are the easiest way to scale your business. But there's a lot of coaches that I want to pick a bone with today who are teaching people how to do organic marketing. Now, organic marketing is effectively the process of building a business without any paid ads, right? So what you're doing is it's things like posting blogs, posting Facebook posts, videos, Facebook Lives, you name it, anything that is effectively for free. Now, the other big thing with that, and a big part of organic is when someone likes your post, when they see, something that you've written, they've commented, you then send them back a message and start a conversation with, right? Now, a lot of that stuff is, it'll work, but the issue is it's not scalable. And that stuff is so easy to teach. We teach it ourselves, but, we don't charge money to teach that to people. Because I think
it's about basically, and that's one of the things that we want to make really clear is that we do consider that what a lot of people charge, a good 5 to 10K for is stuff that we would give away for free because it really is the foundational steps. We did pay about 10K USD once upon a time to work with a really well-known mentor. That was some of the advice, wasn't it, man? I'm going to let you say it because it was said to you.
Oh, mate. Yeah. He is quite a high-profile guy, and I'm really struggling right now not to drop any names.
Don't get us sued in the first episode, bro. Just leave it.
What he said to us was, go find fat people on Instagram. And like literally there's a video of him there cycling through Instagram going, look, she's pretty fat. Let's go with her. And then starts a conversation. And I'm just like, seriously, man, like, that's what we paid money for you to teach us how to find people and start one-to-one conversations. And, that whole process is extremely, extremely time consuming, like outrageously time consuming if you're just going there and, cold DMing people. So, that's why in our program, the program's created so that you don't have to do that. Right. And, Sure, it's a great skill, but we teach people to do that for free. We give away a free offer. And in that free offer, it's effectively that. And I've had people say to us, like, I paid 5K, I paid 10K for a program, and your free program is better than the paid program I did with this coach. And it's like, for us, it's a great business model because we have a real bone to pick with coaches who are teaching this stuff, right? So, what we do, complete transparency, is we just give people that entire thing for free because it's that easy to teach. And then we actually teach the really tough stuff, which is the paid ads, the stuff that you need feedback on, the stuff that you actually need real, genuine coaching on. Because when you put out an ad, right, what if it doesn't work? You have a coach who's going to point you in the right direction. We're giving you exact templates so and you're taking the fastest possible route there, not just a few videos that you could download on YouTube, learn how to do it, and people are then charging 10K for it.
There's a lot of people that will ask and will say, who have you worked with before? And they say, I've worked with this person. And it's like, oh, great. How was it? Yeah, it was actually pretty good. They were really nice and great. And then we just say, look, how much ROI did you make off the program? And it's like, I lost money, but I think people in the fitness industry, they're so nice because it's a service-based industry, and people that get into this industry, it's often about helping people. So we don't like calling people out and making a fuss. But the truth is that one of the most important key metrics for you doing a mastermind or a mentor program is that if you're going to spend X amount of dollars, you need ROI. You need to finish that program having made additional money and cash revenue than what you started with. Otherwise, in a large sense, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's dictated by results, right? So this is a good area to talk about because there's short-term results and there's long-term results, right? So, there's one thing to build a business based on, a few little tricks that you've got up your sleeve. There's another thing to build a business that's scalable, that you can take to the next level and the next level. And there's a reason why we've gone from 5 to 6 to 7 towards 8 figures. We're going to hit 8 figures next year. And that's because we have the scalability of using paid ads. When you've got an organic strategy, like I really don't like organic. It's an important skill to have, but what happens is it takes a really, really long time to build up, right? You're putting out your posts and so forth. A lot of people, they've just got their friends on Facebook and then they start posting all about, health and trying to help people on health, and all their friends are commenting away and going, what are you doing?
Let's address this as well. We actually do quite a lot of organic for Systems by Design, our coaching business. But the key difference here is if you're going to do organic, you have to be able to stand out. And a lot of people, they don't actually spend any money on their organic. For us, we actually spend quite a lot of money to make sure that our organic really jumps off the screen and it really wows people, right? So there is a distinction between being a nobody and just going out there and doing live videos, because you kind of disappear into the incredible noise that is Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I want to touch on this because the big negative part of organic is that you have to do so much legwork, so much groundwork to talk to people and pull them in. Like having a brand is critical. Having posts that you're putting out there is important. Because when people do come through a funnel, they want to actually see that you exist. They are going to research you, but it's not the thing that's going to drive your business forward. When you put money on when you place money on paid ads, you can give it very much an organic feel. And what that organic feel is that you can actually direct people to have a conversation with you, which is one of the biggest funnels that we're using right now, which we call the chat funnel. So what will effectively happen is we will send people through a Facebook ad. And for example, let's say they want to do our 7-day challenge, or even, we do direct sales. We just go, hey, do you want to do our 22-week program? They'll click on that 22-week program. They'll go through this funnel, and the funnel takes them to a conversation with us. So here's the key difference, right? You've got people who are going out cold DMing people and trying to find someone to talk to, or you've got our paid ad strategy where we're sending people to have a conversation with us that we don't have to find. Now, all you have to do, hey, if you want 10 people to have a conversation with you, sure, that's $50. You want 100 people to have a conversation with you, 500, 5,000, right? All of a sudden, you've got the scalable model because you're paying for people to talk to you. Now, one thing I think that is really critical here is also understanding impact of time versus money, because you can pay for people to talk to you, right? But what about time? You can go out and you can DM people, but that's going to take up a far more valuable resource, your time, because you're literally going through chatting to people one after the other. Like in a lot of instances here, you're probably better off working your personal training job, working your job, getting money so you can put that money into ads. And when that money goes into ads, it's very, very simple because you can just use that to have all of these conversations and, leverage your time. So you're not wasting all this time doing nothing, going nowhere and not making any money.
I've heard you break this down in a very simplistic way before that I love. And it's the analogy of the button. You often say, that paid ads can be turned into a button where you can essentially get a consistent amount of leads by knowing that if you spend X amount of dollars, you will get X amount of return ROI. And that's something that you can start to count on as well. So I think that's a really apt description or metaphor for it, because what you don't like about organic is the fact that it lacks consistency. It takes a lot of grind. Sometimes you knock it out of the park and sometimes you're there absolutely crawling through mud and getting nothing in return.
Yeah. Like it's Iggy that says this. I like to call it making boring money, which is money that just comes in without.
I don't find it that boring, by the way.
I never find it boring making money. But that comes back to the principle of the button, and I'm glad you brought that up, because what a button is, and I like to think of it like when you're in your Facebook ad account, you click the button on, right, and all of a sudden everything just lights up. It starts out the entire system. So you take people through and you've got your Facebook ad. They go to a landing page, find out more information. You have a conversation with you, you book them in, you make sure they show up using a system to make sure they show up to the call. We've got a 7-step nurture sequence. And then after that, the sales call. And it's just like when all of those pieces are in place and they work perfectly, it becomes very, very simple. And it's a button, because all you're doing is you're sending people through there. And then it's, your role, our role as people's coaches, to then determine what's happening at each phase and how we optimize that. Now, let's have a little bit of a think about the Facebook ads, right? Let's just say that with your Facebook ads, they're costing $2 a lead. But then we interject and we go, hey, we can get your leads down to $1. That has a follow-on impact every single step of the way, because you've got double the amount of people. You invest $100, you've got double the amount of people who are coming through that funnel, which hypothetically means that you're going to have double as many sales at the other end, as long as all those different numbers stay fixed along the way. So how you think about and approach business is really from a higher level. And now what's happening is you're actually learning a completely different skill. You're not being taught how to cold DM people. You're actually being taught how to be an internet marketer.
And the thing about consistency that's so important, like every week when we do our review of the stats, and this is something that you lead in our meetings, but you break down every single step. And it's all about, if you get consistent stats that you can work with, then you're able to search for the bottleneck, and we can then create our entire strategy for the week around fixing or reducing that bottleneck so that we always get the maximum returns. And I think with organic and the inconsistency of it, it would be incredibly difficult to project financial models with that approach.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you can't really break down that system. What you can do is you can go, how many people can you cold DM? But then on Facebook, you can only have 5,000 friends. So unless you're like deleting friends and adding more, it is inconsistent. Now, I've got to say that if you've got this huge social media presence, let's say you're Kim Kardashian with 177 million followers, it's a different story. You can probably sustain doing your organic a little bit longer, but she's in another world, right? But for most of us who don't have any following, we started from scratch where we were. What paid ads does is it levels out the playing field. It means that, hey, these people have this following, they're going to get people in organically. But what we get to do with paid ads is we can actually push people through to see us and give us a real kickstart.
Like I see this a lot. I'm not directly in the ads industry that you are, but why do you see that so many people are afraid of paid ads?
Well, being afraid of paid ads is...
When I say that, just to clarify, I'm talking about the fitness business owner. I'm not talking about the mentor.
I think people have burned money before. If you don't have confidence, why would you invest more and more money?
That's also important. Why did they burn money? What did they do wrong?
Well, I think it's just not having the right advice. I think Facebook ads has gotten more and more competitive. If I knew nothing and I was going to run a Facebook ad and, myself now, I'd run and hit myself in the head a few times and say, stop. Because if I didn't know what I was doing, I'd put out an ad, I'd get charged $50 per lead, and then it would cost me like $2,000 per acquisition, and I'd be losing money. You really do need, advice on how to actually run paid ads effectively. Like you can try and go out and learn it on your own. You could do a course to learn paid ads, but the simplest way is modeling, right? It's exactly what I did. It's how I got to where I am. Sure, we paid for a lot of coaches, but at the end of the day, I've gone out and I've found the industry's best people, and I've been able to have chats to them, follow what they're doing, and then really just putting down exactly what they're doing and playing with it, making it our own, improving on it.
Yeah. About 5 years ago, we were both at a fairly similar place. And what actually happened that really caused a difference in us at the time was that you actually sought out one of, I would say at the time, one of the world's best fitpro mentors. And he really taught you ads to a fine art at the time. Now, obviously, I know that you've perfected and improved the system over time. But I also went out and got a mentor, and it was a very generic template of a program. And I didn't make any ROI at all. And I remember thinking, all I wanted at that time was someone just to be able to sit me down and show me Facebook ads in a way that made sense. And I just didn't have that. And it was really freaking stressful and annoying because I didn't know, like, I think Facebook ads are a scary thing when you don't know what you're doing. It's easy to feel like you're wasting money. It's easy to feel like you're going to kind of make a fool of yourself. And basically having someone to come in and just give you a really simplistic pathway, I think it's essential for a lot of people.
Mate, it's really funny. I actually remember when you were doing that course and sitting outside your house in your car and you were telling me all about it and how excited you were. And I remember kind of thinking to myself, you're so excited, I'm not going to say anything. But what the course was doing, remember in your first month, you were setting out all the numbers and the tables for your business. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a monthly call that you got. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So from a month to month, your one job for the month was to set up all the numbers in your business. So you had an overview of your business that wasn't going well.
Well, I wasn't getting a monthly call with the mentor as well. I was getting a monthly call with someone that was kind of like a lackey of the mentor as well. So it was all kind of filtered down. I think the guy that was helping me wasn't actually necessarily a successful fitness business owner, but where it all kind of came to a point was like, we both went to a weekend workshop. Right now, I think I flew up like to a different state, and basically the entire 2-day workshop turns out was them trying to upsell us into like a website package. They didn't teach us anything. They talked to us about how good it would be. You came back and you'd been given pretty much like over the shoulder Facebook advice. They'd helped you set up your own ads, and man, you killed it from then on. So it's a huge difference. And I think that's pretty much my experience of the mentor industry, is that there's some that actually can legitimately show you how to do it because they're doing it every day. And then there's those that kind of get it, but transitioned into the coaching space because they wanted to make more money.
Yeah. Like this first coaching program that I did, for us was absolutely phenomenal. And I remember I went to this course and the guy who ran the ads, who was running the ads for the business mentor, he just said to me, "Oh man, I'll just set the ads up for you." And I'm like, "Really? Oh, thank you." And that's what really set me going, because he set up these ads. I watched him, and forevermore, I knew how to do the ads. And it was just that clear pathway, one step after the other, that was needed at that time for me to progress.
In our course, do you actually do the same? Do you help people break down their ads and get started with a simplistic approach?
Yeah, it's all in video format. It's so simple. All that happens, as I said, there's those 5 bootcamp videos that once you've done everything, it's all set up. And if there's problems, you're going to get that feedback. So the big difference between people in our program is it's like, all right, well, what niche would you like to use? What niche are you going with? Who is it that you want to help? Where do you want to make an impact? And then those systems, whether they're in our business, whether they're in Iggy's business, whether they're in the other client's business, are all the same. It's simply then down to that person and how well they come across and how much people want what they're offering. And if people don't want what they're offering, then it's just like, well, that's cool. We just need to change your niche. We need to work on something else until people are engaged with your product, until they want what you have.
Yeah. So, breaking it down, if you're going to actually have a successful fitness business, there's a couple of things that are absolutely essential. You're going to need to have a brand, but you're going to need to have a consistent way of generating leads. And you're going to need to make sure that you can not only get leads, but you can get high quality leads. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, particularly in the organic realm, because they're just getting people that they've hit up on posts. But then also you need to have systems, as well in your business, which we'll probably touch on a lot more in other episodes, but just to make sure that those people actually know who you are and are inclined to turn up to a sales call, right?
Yeah, exactly. People have to know, like, and trust you. It's so critical. If people don't have that, if people don't know, like, and trust you, if you haven't built a connection, if you're not a celebrity, and if you're not an authority to them, then people just going to buy from you. So everything that we do is based on those things and building up an experience really fast where we're heightening all those things so that people are just in that buying mindset.
100%. So, well, man, like we've been chatting for a little while now. As far as I'm concerned, we've covered a lot of stuff today. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover in this episode?
Yeah, look, I think like I want to discuss, what it is that you're looking for in a fitpro mentor, right? So you can hire us or you can hire someone else. It doesn't really matter. But I do want you to take into account, a few things. Now, the first thing that I want you to completely avoid is any fitpro who looks like an absolute dickhead driving a yellow Lamborghini, trying to cash out the window with hot girls everywhere. You've seen plenty of them, haven't you, AP?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sure that those Lamborghinis were rentals.
I can't believe that people actually buy programs off these guys. I don't even know, absolute douches.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
So yeah, that's what you want to avoid, anyone who does that. But you want a fitpro mentor who has a proven track record. You want them to have a track record in their own business with what they're doing for them to be able to demonstrate that. You want a fitpro mentor who's got a proven track record with their clients so that you can see, okay, they're getting people results. Because it's one thing to have a great business themselves. It's a completely other thing for them to be getting great results for their clients. Now, you've got to work with someone that you know, like, and trust. Spend time thinking about who it is that you want to work with. Don't just pick the first person because they're there. Do your research, do your due diligence, go out there and, find a review on that person's service. Ask someone who's worked with them before you actually take action and work with them. Like, the industry is really scammy. And I'd say that the majority, unfortunately, aren't going to be able to deliver, the results that you're expecting. The other big thing is just have an understanding of what you're going to learn in that program. What is it that you need? If you want to go the organic route, you're really scared of spending money right now and you want to really just get started, cool, you can do that, right? It's not going to be scalable. And eventually, you'll need to jump into a program that encompasses everything. A mindset coach, if you want Tony Robbins style inspiration stuff, great, but only do one. Don't do the same course over and over again with a different personality.
There's only so many pat on the bums that you need, right?
It feels really good, doesn't it? But sometimes you just need to tell someone that, yeah, you need to stop that.
I'm going to throw out there as well, because obviously we haven't touched on this as well. So basically my part in the business is that I do sales, and I'm basically a sales coach and mentor. So I know the type of questions that you should actually be asking somebody when you're going to do a mentor program. And if you're going to look at a fitpro mentor, you want to be asking them, do you actually have a successful fitness business that you're operating right now? If they say no, or if they kind of, skirt around the question, really like pin them to the wall and be like, hey, I need an answer. Like, you want to ask that question. The second thing that you want to do as well is you want to make sure that you understand whether they are following the advice that they are getting you to implement, right? So if you say to them, hey, you're getting me to do organic right now, is that all you do in your advertising? Then I would suggest that you need to question the integrity of what they're doing. Because I do find that a lot of fit pros, they teach organic, but they actually sell their programs using paid ads, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's having an understanding of what works in each industry and mapping it out and having multiple ways of getting to an outcome. And when I say the outcome, multiple ways of making money. You reminded me of something just before, a situation with one of our clients, Tom. Now, Tom, of course, is on a 7-figure run rate at the moment, but he was quite possibly one of the hardest sales that we ever made. How many calls did you have with him? How many calls did I have?
I think I had 2. And then basically he just was so unsure about everything that I think it took you at least another 2 or 3 to show him everything.
I did 3. So we did a 5-call close.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing. I mean, he's honestly one of my favorite testimonials because he was so skeptical at the start.
Yeah. And, I knew from the moment that I talked to him that he'd be a 7-figure man. Like, I just got this feeling from him, his work ethic, I could just feel it, his charisma that he had going for him, all these things. And, in that instance, I went in to fight for him to make sure, it took 5 calls, but we got him over the line. What he actually asked us to do is to map out, spreadsheets of how much money he can expect to make week by week by week. And we actually had to custom design these. And I didn't mind because I knew that they would come in handy in the future. So he literally wanted to know, like in week one, how much money is he going to spend? He wanted to take into account the cost of the program that we were paying, the cost of the ad spend, the amount of time that he'd be expected to do all this sort of stuff. And then week by week, we figured out where his profit margins will be based on his ad spends. And I'm so glad he made me do that because it's such a great tool. But, that is a super sophisticated buyer, right? Super, super sophisticated. And, there's no reason that you can't be like Tom yourself and ask all of those questions because, there are going to be, if someone can't answer that for you, they probably haven't thought about it. And if they're not willing to do it for you, they're not worth working with.
You mentioned a sophisticated buyer, which I think is a great term, but are there any people that we would say are not in a position where they're ready to actually embark, with a fitness mentor? Are there any sort of no-nos that, would disqualify people in our mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think that you can't work with anyone. Like, you've got to have a willingness. There are people out there who aren't able to put in the work. They don't have the work ethic. They're not ready. They're not in the right mindset. And there are people that you can't help. I think Iggy likes to call them a stubborn goat.
Look, I mean, if they've worked with multiple mentors and there's very much that victim mentality, there are some bad programs out there. And I think in a lot of those cases, people aren't to blame for not getting results. But there are also serial mentees who have failed time after time. And I think those people, they do need to actually look at their own actions and see if perhaps they're also a big part of the equation.
Yeah, that's right. Like, there's multiple ways of looking at it. Like, you can just take out one gem and you can figure it out as an ROI if that's going to make you a huge amount of money. When your business gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you can make a really, really, you can make a lot of money off implementing one thing. If one person, you pay $10,000 and a person tells you, hey, instead of using a Facebook group, use a Slack channel. And then that Slack channel that you've used with your customers improves the retention rate of your business by even 1%. You might have made, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, depending on the scale that you're working. So, investing in mentors is so, so important. And as we've just dropped in the last month and a half, we've dropped about 45K on mentors. So, it is so important that you're constantly learning and you've got someone who can model off and take you to the next level.
Yeah, I think if you have been burned by a mentor before, it's certainly not a reason. In fact, it's definitely not a reason to not work with another. We've worked with quite a few mentors now since we began, and we always will. I think the higher we get in terms of our skills and our knowledge and our experience and our success, the more money that we're going to invest into actually getting advice. But I would say that you just need to be careful that you're actually working with people that have the proven track record of results that you like and trust, as G said earlier. It's just making sure that you actually going to be signing up with the right people.
Yeah, exactly. So if you need to shop around, find the right person. Don't put the gas down too quickly and push go on something that you're unsure about. If you don't have 100% good feeling, you're probably not working with the right person. As someone, ourselves who've gone around, there are plenty of good stories, plenty of bad stories. And there are some really, really good mentors out there. But make sure the number one thing is make sure that mentor is the person that teaches you the thing that you need.
Yeah, well, let's actually throw a quick shout out as well to AJ Morton's group on Facebook. That's the fitpro Mentor Review. You can go on there. It's a really great place to go and check out because a lot of people get absolutely smoked on there because they deliver a shitty service, and I love that group because it holds the industry accountable.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably, if you look at the fitpro mentor space, it's probably the most powerful group in the world because you've literally got, I think there's about 4,500 members in there or something. And they're just reviewing all the coaches, and it can be really brutal. You look in there, and the one that I was talking about before earlier in conversation, he's on there, and he's just getting his beat
hiding. Yeah, yeah. It's great. So, is there anything else you wanted to touch on, G, today?
I think that's pretty much it.
I think that's it. I mean, that's a good episode in terms of, giving people some real gems to work with. What we are going to do is ask you to please like the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. And in the show notes, we're actually going to leave you a special little gem or a gift, which is actually called the Online Launch Formula. And that is effectively going to help you save the $10,000 USD that you might pay with a mentor when they teach you organic. Why don't we just give you it for free? So please, if you want to save that money, go and take advantage of that amazing resource that we're going to give you for free. G, do you want to
And-
add to that?
Yes, indeed. So do not pay an organic coach who's going to teach you organic. Do our stuff for free first.
Exactly.
Because-
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to make waves in the industry. We're going to give away for free what people are charging you 10K for.
Yep. If people want to go do that course, it's going to help them make money using organic, and then they're going to have the money for paid ads, and then there's no problems moving forward.
All right.
Oh.